Good evening and welcome to the big story on NDTV Profit, and I'm Nupur Suri. Well, the big fat Indian wedding season has begun, and as the Indian economy booms, Indian weddings are getting bigger and more expensive. The wedding industry is expected to do brisk business over the next 2 months with 48 lakh weddings planned. Now, business worth 5.9 lakh crore rupees is likely to be generated. And from apparel to jewelry to decor and location, most sectors are expected to pick up. We're now joined by Mr. Sumit Agarwal. He's the National Secretary of the Confederation of All India Traders. Mr. Rajiv Popley, he's the Director of Popley Group. And Mr. Shailendra Sikh, he's the founder of Percept and Sunburn. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you all of you for joining us.
Good evening, Nupur. Good evening, my fellow panelists.
All right. Mr. Popley, thank you for waiting on. You were smiling when we had Mr. Agarwal talk about the fact that we are expecting a big bang of a season this year. What's it looking like in your business? Of course, gold rates have cooled down from, the highs when we spoke about it last during the Diwali season, but still doing a lot of business because in India, gold never goes out of fashion.
Exactly. No, I'm happy with Ms. Agarwal and what Shailendra both had to say for the weddings. Poplays have been synonymous with their own weddings. So we encourage the whole idea of this wedding culture per se. And coming back to gold, of course, gold's been encouraging as a commodity for the past at least 4 to 5 months with the growth and the dip that we've got now. It's pretty encouraging as a point that when you have to buy for your weddings, the gold is at a dip. It's an encouraging scenario for the ones who had to close in the last minute sales. Diwali was very encouraging, which is very important that we got a good boost for the wedding shopping, which normally starts in Diwali. And that's kept on as numbers are concerned. For us, wedding bookings happen prior to the actual wedding period. So there's a lot of customization, orders, processes which happen, and the final comes in during the delivery period, which is now. So we're pretty optimistic with the way it's gone and the way it's going ahead also. About 48 lakh weddings, that's a good number to hear, but even if you get a percentage of that, it's a huge number for us per se.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I just wanted to ask you about, are you seeing a big uptick in, jewelry with precious stones? Because that's been the kind of trend we've seen lately. And a quick comment on lab-grown diamonds is, are people looking at them for their weddings, or is it still not being able to enter that market?
So gemstones is a big yes. It has been there ever since, but the synonymity has come in more in prominence from the Jamnagar days, I believe. That's when it's become more socially, kind of broadcasted in every sense. So emeralds, rubies, and other gemstones are not in fashion, along with diamonds, of course, which is the base of the wedding jewelry requirement. So coming to lab-grown, we don't have any demand on lab-grown at all, so we don't encourage that as a category. Of course, the ones who want to enter the category as a consumer who can't afford a real diamond, then probably they are looking at some, but not in the wedding jewelry scenario per se.
So coming back to you, Mr. Popley, in the past, in Indian tradition, it's gifting of jewelry is also considered to be very, very important. Is that a trend that's continuing? And what are the budget ranges that you see in terms of gifting?
So gifting, obviously, as a part of the family, always is going to be a part with the jewelry as a category. And that's where we create lines, in fact, which are supporting this gifting aspect, what we call as lightweight jewelry in theoretical terms. But there are lines created which is specifically during the wedding seasons for gifting. It can obviously go across parameters of families exchanging gifts and so on and so forth. Budgets, of course, with gold rising over 80,000 rupees, budgets have changed for sure, and that's where the design and other aspects come into picture. So it's purely relative family basis and the closeness of the relative to whom the gifts are being exchanged with. So that's going to be a separate subject. But however, we've created lines, which is more important, that suits across price points. And surely wedding gifts are important. That's how the whole culture of jewelry shopping, in fact, grows beyond the bride and to the entire family.
Right. Mr. Popley, would you like to come in on that one? You'd be very happy, of course, with the wedding season and the way people are going in for brands. And not just Indian brands. There seems to be a beeline being made for foreign jewelry brands as well.
Yes, Nupur. So we've got stores in Dubai for a very long time, and we understand the international retail concept of luxury per se. And we were, in fact, hands-on with a lot of international brands to bring them to India on the retail fronts. And that's how we've nurtured many of them, of the watches and the other accessories industry also. So we understand this part of the retail, and we can see the growth aspect, which has phenomenally increased for the past, you can say, 7 to 8 years, and a little more. So the entire concept is growing. Like Sharendra said, the exposure is very high of international brands in India, and the understanding of these brands, which is help mature the Indian retail consumer, which is important for us also because the same consumer demands jewelry on the similar lines. The similar quality and the similar characteristics, which is what we are happy to offer them at the same time. So we do a lot of digital business whereas Popley is concerned. So and we connect with international consumers who are now coming to Bombay for their wedding shopping and their wedding scenes here. So we are able to understand that the requirements are forecasted for the season, and we can see this is growing more serious and larger. Okay. And they understand that these larger products, which are available overseas, are now going to be available in India also. So we're in line with what the demand is as a consumer requirement is concerned, and Popley is happy to cater to it now.
All right, Mr. Popley, are you seeing that as well in the jewelry business? Are people just coming in and wanting to splurge? Because earlier on, Indians used to really think a lot. We were more of a saving economy. We do seem to be moving to being a consumer economy now.
Yes, of course. The jewelry category has shown that prominence very clearly. Post-COVID, as I agree with Mr. Agarwal also, the culture has been self-gifting in a very big way. Consumers are there to buy jewelry for themselves to start with, and they would like to go for larger and good pieces, which are irrespective of the value of the product, but more design and other aspects are of importance. Though jewelry always has the bench of having a security of value down the line for uncertain days, but that's part of inheritance of the product category. However, the design and the entire idea of splurging at that point of time is going to be a prominence now, which is very clearly seen during the wedding also.
All right. Mr. Sumit Agarwal as well as Mr. Rajiv Popley, both of you gentlemen, thank you very much. I think we've, Mr. Shailendra Singh had a previous engagement, so he's dropped out already. But all of you, thank you very much for joining us on The Big Story this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, with that, it is a wrap on The Big Story on NDTV Profit. Thank you very much for joining in, but do stay with us for more.